Good morning, everybody. Orange J here with another Etheria restart video, and today we're going to talk about that select unit summon once again because we've got the day one buffs and nerfs from the dev team, and it is changing how I'm thinking about like what the best picks are from that select summon banner. This is your one chance in the game to go get the SSR character of your choice, and I want to start this video like I hope I remember to start all the videos about this by saying, if there's a character you really want, pick them over everything else. Like, all the characters in this game are usable. Pick the character that's going to help you have the most fun. What I'm going to talk about here is what I would pick and the things I'm considering picking with the current state of the game. Now, let's start with Tiamat, because in all my previous videos, she was right at the top of the list for like my recommendations, and she did get nerfed a little bit in the day one patch notes. You can see right here that when she gets 8 of her stacks and transforms into her ultimate form, her healing that she will instantly receive goes down from 30% to 10%. That is a significant nerf. I think it hurts her more in PvP, and I think her nerfs in general here hurt her more in PvP than they do in PvE. That's just a feeling that I have. Like, obviously we'll see how that plays out over time, but you'll just have to trust me when I say that this girl was a dominant force at like in-game PvP. Once you didn't just like PvP, especially real-time PvP, eventually gets to the place where you're not just like, hey, I go first and I wipe you off the map, GG, I win. In those fights, her ability to help sustain your group, transform, and then not only be this tank that like splits damage with the rest of your team, but then also does a lot of damage back, she's still going to do those things, just now she's not going to heal as much, and so she's more vulnerable. And I think she was already losing a little bit of traction among a lot of people in terms of being their #1 pick. Look, here's the deal on Tiamat. If you were just like, if she's your girl and you really wanted to play her, I do still think she's a good pick. She's no longer at the top of my list though, because maybe now more than ever, she's going to need a little bit more assistance. Like, she already needed to be running with a healer in PvP. I think now in PvE, you might actually have to run a healer with her sometimes as well. And remember, if her AI, like, here's the thing, if her AI would cast her skill 2 instead of her skill 3 to lead off of a fight, maybe she could solo heal for you again, but that was not changed in the patch notes. She's still a skill 3, then skill 2 kind of person. And so unless we get the ability to like pick what our units use, I think she falls down the priority list a little bit for me. She's still a really good character, but now let me recommend, I got like 5 or 6 characters that I would pick before her, and I want to jump to the most obvious one, and that's Real Mocha. This is the character who I ended up picking in the last beta test, and I picked her only because Doki Doki's the most important farm. She is like, that's her thing. She's tailor-made for it, and she's pretty good in PvP too. So if you want to make Doki Doki farming easier, pick yourself a Real Mocha. You run her alongside Gray, you crowd control the enemies that you're fighting. Gray drops his big AoE defense down crit attack on everybody. Then she comes in, and because of her splash damage passive that's unaffected by damage boost, as long as you got somebody that you can kill with her skill 3, she will just splash that damage out to the whole group. She still does that. She still does exactly that, and I think she's going to be awesome in Doki Doki and very usable in PvP as like a counter element pick, somebody who could provide a little bit of stun and AoE to your lineup. So Real Mocha, absolutely a top tier pick. Now, I want to add another element, another green element character to there, and that's Rahu. I'm not gonna lie, like, there is a part of me that sees a defensive, like a bruiser team forming very early with Rahu at its center. He got a really nice buff in the last patch, and so let's go look at it right here. So his damage went from, on his skill 1, went from 320 to 350 of his defense. So he does scale with defense. This will, maybe someday this will hold him back a little bit, but I'll just tell you right now, I faced a Rahu in the last PvP tournament, and I thought I had like pinned my opponent down because he didn't pick any damage, and then Rahu was just like bam, 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 and that was pre all these buffs. I think he's going to be a PvP monster, and because he is the same element as Real Mocha and can do AoE damage, he could also be your main DPS in a Doki Doki fight. He won't be as good as Real Mocha. She's the best for Doki Doki, but I think he's going to be better in PvP, and he's that same element, so can fill that same role in PvE as long as your Gray is built up enough to provide that like second DPS option. I think he's great. And then his skill 3 got 2 buffs. His passive increases his defense by 1% more per stack, which not only makes him tankier, but makes him do more damage. And then his skill 3 passive also increases damage up to a maximum of 40%. So he's gonna, he's gonna ramp up his damage and his defense even more with his passive. Like, in a longer sustained fight, this man is going to be a monster. So I think he's going to be excellent for farming Doki Doki. I think he's going to be excellent in PvP. And if you could build a like bruisery team around him, boom. Like right now, if I had to pick right now, I would probably pick either Rahu or one other character on this list I'm going to mention in a little bit, but let's continue. Rosa. Now look, Rosa was already somebody that everybody was talking about. Like Rosa already had a ton of momentum going her way. She did catch a nerf in this patch. So she goes with her skill 1, which consider this, her skill 1 is her basic attack. So Rosa does a lot of follow-up attacks. So she's using her skill 1 all of the time. Like she's not a character that just uses S1 when her S2 and S3 are on cooldown. She spams this skill. It previously knocked turn meter back by 10%. The theme of this last patch was nerfing turn meter knockback, and she was not immune to that. It went down to 8. That's not much of a nerf. It's really just not. So I think Rosa is exactly the same character that she was before. And if your goal is to pick like an odd element, that blue element DPS character, because you already have like Leon, you're building up your gray, and you just want a blue DPS character, probably the best one right here is Rosa. I think that was true in the beta. I think it stays true now. And if Rosa was your girl before this video, I think Rosa could still be your girl after this video, and you're gonna feel fine about that. Okay, another character that I think is climbing in popularity a little bit right now, and I think like Shadow she didn't get buffed in the last patch, but with everybody else's turn meter manipulation kind of getting nerfed a little bit, Tsukio here might have like risen in priority. I already thought she was nuts. I just have never been able to like in my mind piece together kind of the perfect team for her. But let me give you an idea of what she can do. Her skill 3, which you get down to a 4-turn cooldown if you max it out, increases the target allies 100% turn meter and boosts herself 35% and gives an attack and speed buff to your group. Like this is so insane. Like her ability as a support character now that some of the like SR support characters are a little bit down, she might like have risen up to take their spot. She's probably better than them already anyway, but the fact that she comes out of this unmarred as somebody who can manipulate turn meter, I just think her skill 3 is abusable. Like it's really abusable. Like there's got to be a combo out there with like Lily, who can make it so like the person she buffs doesn't consume their cooldown, with like a monster AoE hitter like a Messiah or a Rahu or something like that. And then a Tsukio, who can like, the Lily can buff your character, give him Twin Trick. He can use his giant AoE attack, and then it doesn't go into cooldown because of Lily's buff. And then Tsukio comes out, gives him another turn, and they just immediately do it again. Like, that's super OP. And if you can lead off a fight with some kind of combo like that, not to mention she's also giving attack and speed to the whole group with this buff, it's crazy. Like, she seems like one of the most abusable champs on this banner in terms of like supporting. And then her skill 3 is also pretty good. It's a big AoE attack that can silence. Okay, like, yep, that's pretty good too. Like, silence will also knock off, for example, the like debuff or the buff on Doki Doki. Although I don't think anybody's saying Tsukio is like a Doki Doki killer. Still, pretty dang good character. And if you want like a pick that maybe not a lot of people are going to make, but will give you a lot of power long term, boom. She's not gonna like instantly power up your account, but long term she's a great investment. Okay, here's a dude who got buffed a lot. Chloros. He was right towards the top of the buff list right here. Like, they led off with this one. But here's our guy Chloros. Now, single target DPS dealer. I wanna show you guys something right here. I'm gonna go to Chloros. They have this thing on Pridewind called DPS ranking, right? And he was already the highest ranked single target sustained damage dealer on Pridewind. Now, this is all theoretical. Like, these aren't like real numbers. These are theoretical numbers. And they even say like, don't use this damage output as an indication of who's worth pulling or investing, blah, blah, blah. But his numbers are crazy for single target sustained. Now, when you go to single target burst, which is often a lot more valuable, his numbers were a little bit low. However, with the buff, he's finding his way up on this burst list. Notice that Didding is now the king of single target burst after the last round of buffs and things. But Chloros has insane potential. And the fact that he got this buff to his skill 3, and here it is, it went from 400% to 480% damage. And when it kills somebody, they cannot be revived. Big deal for PvP. The problem with him, and we just weren't seeing a lot of him, was like, he just wasn't quite hitting hard enough to justify. And the way his kit works, like, he kind of needs some ramp up time. That's why if you look at this DPS chart for sustained damage, like if you're in a long-term fight, like Union Boss or something like that, oh man, he's ramping up big time. But a lot of battles in this game, especially early on, are kind of decided quickly, and his damage there wasn't as good. It's better than it used to be, and this might have put Chloros in a spot where if you really like his design, you want that like Grim Reaper scythe dealing single target DPS monster, consider him. Something else I do think is holding him back, though, is he is a red element, a reason element DPS, and we already have Leon for that element, and she's already really, really good into Terramaton, who's kind of like the reason to build that element for a lot of people, especially in the early game. That still is a strike against him, but his value did go up, and if you just wanted him, boom. I think he's worth pulling for now. Okay, last one I want to mention, staying with that red element, is Hellkid. Hellkid is look, if he was your guy before, I think he's still your guy now. The value of Hellkid, as we expand all of his skills right here, is this Shrouded Barrier. So you want Hellkid to go early in a fight, get this Shroud Barrier up, and get that immunity for debuffs for your whole group. He is still going to be that insane support character that he always was, with that damage to back him up. And he was already somebody that a lot of people were considering pulling for. And I think after these last buffs and nerfs, that he comes out of there untouched. And I hold on, having doubts in my head. Let's search for Hellkid on this list. Yep, look, I Control F Hellkid. He doesn't show up, which means he stayed safe. So a character that everybody already considered very strong that did not get hit by the buff stick is Hellkid. Specifically a PvP leadoff guy or a PvP speed guy to give yourself that immunity so you can't be slapped with those debuffs in a fight. So if it was me right now, day one, and somebody like, has a gun to your head, makes you pick something, I'm looking at Rahu over Real Mocha, which is a change. Like if yesterday I would have said Real Mocha at this time of the day, now because Rahu can kind of fill that same role, I would lean him over her. That could end up being a slight mistake with just how dang good she is at farming Doki Doki, but I think he can probably do that job now as well. And then Tsukiyomi, man, like especially if you don't have another like premium support type character, and even if you do have Lily, who I think is the most premium support character in the game, she pairs up with her so well with that little kind of combo that I just described a second ago. I love how ads always be popping up on the screen. Anyway, that's the video, guys. That's my new thought for who to pull on the select banner once you decide to go down that route. Again, something to remember, I do not recommend leading off with the select banner. Some people are saying wait 2 weeks. That's too long in my opinion. You want to enjoy the game right from the go, but this should not be the first SSR character you have. You should collect a few others from like the standard banner first to make sure you're not duping yourself out with your select summon banner. All right, thank y'all for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you next time. Peace.